अरे नहीं, लेकिन साथियों, अगर हम एनेक्डोट से एनेक्डोट खेल ही रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं पता कि ये जगरनॉट की ऑडियंस वाला एनेक्डोट है या नहीं। लेकिन मैं बता सकती हूँ कि मैं 24 साल की थी जब मैं पहली बार कनाडा गई, और पीएचडी के लिए मैगिल में। और 2 बार ऐसा हुआ कि एक बार जो मेरी पहली फ्लैटमेट थी, ऑफ कोर्स वेरी लविंग, ओपन हर हाउस एंड हार्ट टू मी। फॉर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, ऑफ कोर्स, दिस इज अ it's a white woman. She was also a scholar. I really like her. We continue to being friends. But she asked me, no, 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 give me the authentic recipe for this nihari that you made. The authentic recipe. मैं कहा, बहन, शान मसाला डाला है तुम्हारे सामने, यही है authentic. No, 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 but the kind that your mother makes. मैंने, मेरी मम्मी कोएड स्कूल में पढ़ा के आती थी यार, वहां पे लड़कों के चिल्लाने के बाद कुछ बची नहीं उनमें एनर्जी। नहीं नहीं, जो तुम्हारी नानी बनाने में कहा, नानी, नानी निहारी क्यों बनाएंगी? माय मदर वाज वेरी ओल्ड व्हेन शी हैड मी, माय नानी वाज डेड। तो उसके लिए बहुत बड़ा कल्चर शॉक था ये कि तो तुम मतलब मसाला तुम देखती भी नहीं, तुम ऐसे यूट्यूब से देख के बना रही हो। मैं कहा, हाँ, तुम यूट्यूब से नहीं देख रही, तुम्हारी मम्मी ने रेसिपी बुक बना के दी है तुम्हें।
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge.
8 नवंबर 2016 की रात्रि को 12 बजे से
चीफ मिनिस्टर के लिए मेरा एक ही संदेश है कि वो राज धर्म का पालन करें।
हार्डवेयर वालों की सोच क्या होती है, हार्ड वर्क वालों की सोच क्या होती है।
अरे ये ना पंजाब की खुशबू।
Hey, hello and welcome to an episode, a joint episode of Desi Academia podcast and the Bhaja Pod. We have a few familiar faces and some unfamiliar folks here. So we have your usual host of Desi Academia Pod, Meg.
Hello, hello.
We have Amrita, who was on a lot of Bhaja Pods last year, but has since been absent, and we've been trying to cajole her back.
Nice.
Hi, Amrita.
हेलो।
And we have Dr. Sumaira Nawaz with us today, who you would have heard recently on a Desi Academia pod. Congratulations to her for successfully defending her thesis. And yeah, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
हेलो हेलो हेलो, वेरी वेरी हैप्पी टू बी हियर टुडे। हमारा तो बाई से इफ्तिखार है हर बार इस पॉडकास्ट पर आना। एंड अ लिटिल अबाउट माई सेल्फ अगर मैं बताऊं, मैंने अपनी पीएचडी हाल ही में डिफेंड की है, और उसके बाद हिंदुस्तान में भी पढ़ाया है, कनाडा में भी पढ़ाया है। सो आई हैव सम एक्सपीरियंस विद आवर नेटिव इन्फॉर्मेंट स्टूडेंट्स एंड आल्सो आवर डायस्पोरा स्टूडेंट्स। एंड आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड टू बी हियर टू टॉक अबाउट जगरनॉट टुडे।
आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में नेटिव इन्फॉर्मेंट कौन है, वही एक बहुत फैसिनेटिंग क्वेश्चन होने वाला है।
मैं तो बता रही हूँ, मैं तो स्टूडेंट्स ने ही मुझे इतना सिखा दिया है कि आपको क्या आता होगा, क्या आर्काइव देख कर आई हैं आप, मैं बताता हूँ।
So we're going to start with the linguist here.
हाँ,
What is juggernaut, and what does that what does that word mean?
that's a great point to start. And there are historical linguists and philologists who would do a much better job of this. But again, as a मेरा field नहीं है, but फिर भी I'm gonna try my best. And just to get the context started, the first point of contact for this word is when the British, and when not just the British but many colonial East India companies came to India, they had this exotic view of Indian culture. And so the way they perceived things also influenced the way they changed the meaning of existing words. So एक example है like the word bazaar, which is now an accepted English word. Another word is thug or thuggy. Again, it for those of you who've followed the history of this word, it has a very specific community based meaning in India, and it has this long history involving criminalized tribes, and today it's gone on to just mean a person who, I don't know, has like criminal leanings and also is a strong man. So ये जो juggernaut word है, this word also has a very similar history where Jagannath is a god who has a temple in Orissa. It's a god who there's a long history of processions being taken out for this god. Ulsur temple, Bangalore, near Bangalore, that's a place where you can see, these ginormous out of the world stone structures, movable structures that have been built to celebrate the power of this god, right? That's kind of where the name of the god and the cultural context of this god comes in. Now, when this got seen in a very one-dimensional way by people who were coming into our country with a very clear colonial intent, they use that colonial lens to see this as some deeply flawed, crazy Indian thing that was going on. And so that made the word juggernaut, which stopped being the name of a god and started meaning a immovable force. I'm looking this up just from the Wikipedia, where it's a merciless, destructive, and unstoppable force, literal or metaphorical. And anybody who has any context into the mythology of Lord Jagannath would immediately see कि ये बहुत what is this mismatch between the way we understand this word and the way this word is understood through a Western lens. And so, yeah, it's one of those classic examples of a word where it really plays at this tension between an Indian understanding of our culture and a Western one-dimensional racialized look at what the world is like. And all of that has been stripped, of course. Now it's just a word that floats in the ether, and you'll have to really
Correct.
go into the
Yeah.
history of this word to understand where it came from. So yeah, very long spiel, but yeah, that would, I hope
That's
that
great
helps.
because I just wonder what it takes to name a magazine after this. Like knowing if you are a Desi, to take the word juggernaut and know that it's been colonialized, like it's a colonial version of, what was definitely like a very specific kind of a procession. Uh, it's it's a little bit reductive, like uh, in my experience of what the actual thing is, and then to use that to start a magazine called Juggernaut. And Amrita, I have heard that you are a big fan of this magazine. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about?
According to their own bio, it's to honor their South Asian roots, also because they believe South Asians are an unstoppable force. That's why they've named it Juggernaut.
Okay,
And
okay.
I also don't want to fall into the trap. I mean, there is a lot of reclaiming of language that happens. So sometimes we
Mm.
lose words to this kind of a historical transfer, and there is often attempts made for people to reappropriate those words. So a lot of feminists, for example, will try to reappropriate or re-empower words like slut or whore, right? And so use them differently, reclaim them. And so to be generous
ठीक
to
है,
the
ठीक है,
very
ठीक है.
extremely
Okay.
erudite, well-educated people who run this magazine, maybe that was their intent.
Also, to defend myself, I am not a big fan. I am not a big fan of this magazine. Just earlier this year, they were looking for pitches. So I just thought, let's see. I had some ideas. I said, let's see. So I was just going through their articles, and then I was like, I'm not pitching. There is no way what I want to write is ever going to be published on this platform. So that's how it started. Then I just started reading, and then I was just getting aggravated. So that I said, must make some use of all the time that I have wasted reading these articles, because they're not like small, they're like lengthy. So I've wasted a lot of time. So this is my way of making use of some of that time.
So tell us, what was your introduction, like other than this, like I think they started a few years ago. Do you want to give us a quick synopsis of their history?
Yeah. So their founder, Snigdha, so she's like Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh, I forgot where she's born, but one of the two places. And then she's mostly educated in the US. She went to Yale. There she started this newsletter. It used to be free and it used to be called Ink Mango. And it was about these South Asian stories that she wasn't seeing anywhere, because a lot of Western media tended to be like really racist and everything. So she said, no, we must write our own stories. So she started writing it. And I guess then it started becoming popular. And there was this startup accelerator called Y Combinator, which then like gave her some money, and then it became a big digital magazine instead of like a small newsletter.
It's very interesting if you read their articles. It's very much so they start with a really compelling, uh, like they do start with compelling stories. Like at least the title, when you look at it, it's like, okay, this is something I would want to read. And then when you go in, they tell you a bunch of opinions from one side to the other side. They miss a lot of like really critical points of the meat of the issue is kind of missed. You don't really know what the author is like trying to say or trying to convey. They're just a bunch of opinions, and then at the end, it's basically like, oh, this is what everyone's saying. Some of these things may or may not be racist. And I'm going to bring you in, Sumaira, in your experience of South Asians engaging with topics such as, let's say Kamala Harris's loss, for example, right? Or, some of the other things like civic sense. Like, what has been your experience in how our diaspora
Yeah.
engages with this
No,
versus how?
I'd intervene with a previous conversation where, just to respond to Meg, I don't think I would ever pick a magazine called The Crusades or The Crusaders. I think some words, as a student of Islamic history, some words just cannot be appropriated. I'm just going to slap back like the Salahuddin magazine is what that's what my little zine is going to be called. Sorry, some narratives just can't be appropriated. Anyway, um, no, jokes aside, I do have some experience with teaching diaspora students, and it's always a struggle to bring them out of the fold of culture. Some of them obviously are coming in from, backgrounds where their parents were Marxists or they were introduced to a range of literary sources. So they understand not everything is about worshipping the soil of your country. But sometimes, they'll be talking, waxing eloquent. In their minds, I understand they're responding to a different kind of politics where their language and identity has been very willfully erased or marginalized. But if they take this my language and my identity to heart, knowing fully well that they are actually pretty Savarna, coming in from exceptional class privilege from their home backgrounds. And I have to remind them, yes, honey, it's called fascism. That's what you've cited here. And I think it always throws them off to see someone who does not fit their idea of what, this my brown teacher from India is like, not brown. You need to understand ideology and class and other forms of identities that are not being reduced to primarily color, or that this body politics is very different coming in from a specific American context. It doesn't apply everywhere, certainly not in my classroom. So it's always a struggle to bring them out of frames and say, "Acha, thaqafat ke aage, beyond culture, what is it that you see? Or is this culture rooted in some other realities?" Or my favorite is that they are always shocked when you introduce them to, okay, this is Mukti Bodh, Gajanand Mukti Bodh, read him. What do you think his ideology is, politically speaking? And there was like, I don't know, I don't understand, but maybe it was like Marxist. He's Marxist. Now, do you understand that Hindi does not just mean one kind of nationalist literary history or one kind of political ideology? Or, you give him this like, okay, let's read Valmiki's Jutan. Okay, one novel considered seminal in the literary history, read it. And they're always this like, no. And then it goes to the other extreme also to say, oh, Hindi can never be a language of the subaltern. Hindi can never be a language of representing Dalit culture. It's like, there can be arguments for that, but that doesn't mean the public sphere did not thrive. The public sphere did not thrive in this language too. So it's always, I'm dealing with these two extremes that either they want to reject everything without understanding the nuance of, okay, certain arguments are developing from a context, or it's just that, no, but what about our food? Like, what do you mean your food? You are eating mac and cheese with preservatives. What do you mean our food if you're doing Mughal food history? What is our about it? What is this us? So that's me.
We see this happen in the Indian context also, right? Like very recently, the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, whom I will not name, found himself in Bengal, where in rather chaste Urdu, this man declaimed to a whole crowd of Bengali speakers that Bengal will no longer be compelled to speak Urdu, but they will be allowed to speak Bengali. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, तुम खुद इधर से हो भाई, तू हिंदी उर्दू गंगा जमनी तहजीब वाली भाषा में तुम बंगाल जाके बोल रहे हो कि हम ये लैंग्वेज अप्रोप्रिएशन नहीं होने देंगे, बट भाई what is your culture? And I think to tie this to what Sumaira is saying, that there is like this ideal of Indian culture that they were raised with, and then there's the reality of how it actually plays out. And in that reality, like that tension between us who are fobs, like fresh off the boat, and the ABCDs, like this drama plays out, and इस सब में like Juggernaut जैसी एक magazine आ जाती है, which seems to in many ways embody real that stress, as it were.
So if you'll see, one of the most interesting things, so I read, about do Indians have civic sense? Because civic sense is right now, it's a word that's it's overused in our culture a lot. Do you have civic sense? It's it means everything from engaging politically to throwing trash on the road, right? Like it's widely used. And this magazine, they started I think, what was it, like a 3,000 word article on do Indians have civic sense? And there was not one mention of caste.
Yeah, the closest they get is that one like sociologist, I think, who just said it's a class problem. What is that? Like class, he just said it's a class problem.
Yeah. I mean, in a society where we relegated certain castes to be literally the ones that are cleaning all of our civic spaces, what are we doing? And to educate even the diaspora about like what are the origins of why we are like this, and then you mix that into the actual true and real racism that is being faced by Indians and by South Asians actually online, which is like you guys are dirty, you're unclean, like you're not keeping your areas clean. It's very difficult to find that balance, and Juggernaut does not speak, I think, well to this issue. Like yes, there are real true issues about this within our culture, but also like the people who are highlighting this online on Twitter X, they are not coming from a good faith article. And I know, Make, you had thoughts about this.
Before we get to the Twitter part, like one thing I would like to know from all of you is if you've glanced at a Juggernaut article or a front page, who are the contributors? Who do you think is the audience of Juggernaut? Because that's a question I struggle with. I see this, and sometimes when I see their article, I'm not sure if I am their intended audience. And so I'll read it and I'll be like, yeah, who is this magazine for? And what happens when I read the article is it makes me feel that as though this is not speaking to me, but I also don't know who it's speaking to. So that's an open question
Mindy
for
विंडी
everybody.
Kaling
केलिंग
fans.
फैंस हाँ जरूर हो सकता है। मुझे कभी कभी लगता है कि जब आप स्कॉलर होते हैं, आप इतना पढ़ चुके होते हैं, तो एकेडमिक बैकग्राउंड की वजह से एक हैंडीकैप होता है कि कई चांद थे सरासमा चमक चमक के पलट गए हो चुका है मेरा पब्लिक स्फीयर में सबकी जगह है, जिसको आना है जो कहना है आप कहिए। परेशानी मुझे तब होती है जब आप जगरनॉट पढ़ते हैं और आप सोचते हैं ओ दिस इज अ स्ट्रिंजेंट बॉक्स आई हैव क्रिएटेड फॉर माई सेल्फ एंड दिस इज हाउ माई आइडेंटिटी विल स्पीक। these are like new world values that don't align with old world values। मैं कहा पहले तो न्यू वर्ल्ड ओल्ड वर्ल्ड जैसे कोई चीज ही है नहीं यहाँ पर। फिर if this is a then I guess angsty people on Twitter of all kinds, that's their audience।
Yeah, and even in that context, it's these are good values. वाला एक narrative था, I think also because Juggernaut is a post 2014 phenomenon. You know, it's also like South Asian versus Desi or Indian. Also, it became a more tense space. And so it's also the space where they're like, yeah, we are trying to find people who are, I guess we need the money of everybody who supports everyone politically, but also culturally, like our culture capital is people who kind of softly or very strongly oppose Modi or have academic context because that's how we'll get the audience that we want. And we want to be like a, I don't know, niche version of New Yorker or something. I get a sense that it's a very New York based magazine as well. तो उसका भी एक urbaness है जो मुझे थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आता है.
Unka engagement with Kamala Harris in the election was very interesting because they don't talk about like what her privilege is, and her privilege within a South Asian community and also having access to a mixed race community. Then they don't talk about why why South Asians, largely online and their foundations, they kind of opposed her because they supported a lot of like the anti-Muslim tone of the other side, the Republicans. That is not mentioned in their article when they're engaging with Kamala Harris. They're just saying, yeah, some people like her, some people don't like her. It's just about vanilla policies, and we think it's not about just bigotry for the most part.
And this demographic information was available. I mean, right after the election, like
Yes.
someone had made one of my relatives had made a very throwaway comment कि जो इंडियन क्रिश्चियन कम्युनिटी है उनको उनके चर्चेस में बोला जाता है कि दे नीड टू सपोर्ट ट्रम्प एंड इसलिए उनके वजह से that's why Indian American support went down. And I actually did end up looking this up. This should come as no surprise to anybody, but the biggest support block for Donald Trump came from Savarna Hindu men, not men of any other religion. And like the numbers were very predictably lower for all other communities, including like Hindu women. However, that's something that's a nuanced way to look at it that could have made a great article, but what we get is that, oh, both sides.
Hmm. Yeah. And I feel like I haven't seen anything recently, but they haven't talked about, you know, this subsequently, for example, the Hindu American Foundation is now very upset with what Trump is doing and the racism that was coming from Trump, leopard face
I'm
eating
enjoying this so
party,
much.
eating leopard faces. Anyone? I mean, it's really funny because they end up looking really silly because they raise the right topics and then they don't engage with anything in the way that it should be, and we don't call out the bigotry, the internalized Islamophobia in most NRI communities, which is largely upper caste, upper class Hindus, is they're very Islamophobic and it's super internalized. I, I don't know what is the point of a magazine that really doesn't communicate any of these things. Amrita, did you want to say some things before we go to the specific issue that that brought them into our
बस एक
uh,
लास्ट छोटी सी चीज कहनी है, मैगजीन का पॉइंट लिपस्टिक बेचना होता है, लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट.
हाँ, that's true. Fair enough. We भूल जाते हैं यार, that is the thing.
No, I think to what you were saying about they don't say anything. That's what they just include these quotes. They like interview people, include these quotes, and then it's just, oh, this person said this thing, this person said this thing, and it's just transcribing what people said. And I don't get a sense of what their position actually is, what are they trying to say, what is their opinion on this. And the defense to that, I'm 100% sure, is going to be, we are journalists, we are not going to editorialize.
Yeah, and then there's one in which, oh my God, I read this yesterday, and there is one article in which they keep saying reader, so like they're
They
addressing
say
the
it
reader, and
usually.
it sounds like
It's a
it
common
literally
thing.
sounds like Bridgerton. Like, क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग यहाँ? Like, what is this? Why are you addressing the reader? Like, reader, do you feel like da 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 da?
Yeah.
So they also quote some really extreme people. Like they quote certain people who have like very
हाँ.
self-hating kind of views. I don't know, like they seem
Yeah.
we have a lot of hatred for our own communities within our communities, and I'm struggling to really understand that.
Can you expand that a little bit? Are you talking about Islamophobia wala hatred, or just Indians reflexively like cringing at other Indians?
I think it's more the latter. Like Islamophobia is always there. Like that is, I think, part of
Yeah, that comedian, literally, that quote that they put was that Indians have like their flight manners are worse than Al Qaeda.
Oh,
That was the quote.
yes, which was not funny even
That
10
was the
years ago.
quote.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the quote, and it's literally the quote is basically he says that, and then he says you can quote me on it, and they've put it.
Yeah.
And then in another article they argue about how we're all very like exactly like you said self-hating and like we cringe a lot and South Asians tear each other down more than anything. How are these two things coexisting? Like 1 week you're saying this, 1 week you're saying this. What exactly is your position? I don't
ये थोड़ा
understand.
hot take लगेगा, but I think sometimes when I hear Indian Americans say these things, I feel like they're having an argument with their parents. And we're just like catching strays. ये उनके माँ बाप के बीच में झगड़ा चल रहा है. You know?
That's funny. So I'll bring you in, Sumaira. They often use this term called decolonize. And now we are not at all experts in this. I am a STEM grad, so what does it mean?
To quote a friend of DAP, Kaustubh Naik, decolonize is to culture studies what Mala is to Bollywood lyrics.
Love
वो
Kaustubh.
eternal evergreen quote है.
हमारा मर्च होना चाहिए.
उनका मर्च होना चाहिए. I will pay him money.
पीएचडी थीसिस में एक बार भी डीकोलोनाइज नहीं लिखा है मैंने. लेकिन उसके बाद जब जब इतना मुझे पता है, लेकिन जब आप अप्लाई कर रहे होते हैं पोस्ट डॉक्स के लिए, खास तौर पर अमेरिका में, और इंशाल्लाह कोई भी रिक्रूटर ये नहीं सुन रहा होगा, किसी कमिटी मेंबर पे कोई स्कॉलर की नहीं जानेगी कि मेरी ये राय है उनके बारे में। लेकिन कभी कभी मुझे लगता है वो ऐसे हर चीज में नचबलिया करवा देते हैं कि हमारी डाइवर्सिटी, इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी और वेरीड फील्ड्स में आप क्या करेंगे। मैं कहा, आपका आर्काइव डिकोलोनाइज करूंगी। आई वर्क विद पर्शियन, टर्किश, उर्दू, तो मैं बताऊंगी ऐसे कि नॉन वेस्टर्न, मैं इसमें डिकोलोनाइज क्या हो रहा है, एम्पायर की हिस्ट्री हो रही है। लेकिन हाँ, पर्सनली ऐसे कभी मैंने इस्तेमाल किया नहीं है, सुना मैंने हर जगह है, और हर बार ये सोचा कि तो डी कॉलोनियल में और एंटी कॉलोनियल में आपकी नजर में क्या फर्क है, आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं इससे। एंड ज्यादातर जगहों पे जहाँ डी कॉलोनियल इस्तेमाल भी हो रहा है, आउटसाइड ऑफ कोर्स क्रिटिकल थ्योरी, ऐसा नहीं है कि बिल्कुल मैंने कुछ अच्छा पढ़ा ही ना हो, आउटसाइड ऑफ क्रिटिकल थ्योरी, एक बजवर्ड की तरह। एंड देन ऑल्सो कमिंग डाउन विद, बट विद ब्राउन कल्चर विद द वेस्ट नॉट नोइंग। एक तो ब्राउन कल्चर विद द वेस्ट नॉट नोइंग, इसमें आपने क्या यहाँ पे कभी लाइक हिस्ट्री ऑफ मॉडर्निज्म नहीं पढ़ा है? आपको नहीं पता कि हम भी एक्चुअली कम्युनिस्ट रहे हैं, हमारा भी वामपंथी बड़ा ट्रेडिशन है। ये ईस्ट वेस्ट के आगे तुम्हारा दिमाग चलता क्यों नहीं है? तुम डीकोलोनाइज के चक्कर में क्या नेटिविस्ट रोमांटिसिज्म लेकर आओगे? इसमें क्या अच्छा लग रहा है?
You can almost see it happening, it working like a plan, right? Where again, US academia specifically, उनको हमेशा से ही एक एलर्जी रही है to deal with Marxism, to deal with leftism. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want people to look into those cultures and traditions. And American literary theory में तो it's also something that's been discussed a lot, where it becomes more self-reflexive, like identity को मतलब आगे बढ़ाओ and ideology को पीछे रखो type of research एक context है. So in that context, this kind of works very well, right? Where you can position the subaltern, again another buzzword, or the Orient, another buzzword, as this culture जिसको you can only discuss it in cultural terms and without having to discuss the ideology behind it. Even like the most intelligent and erudite and well cited people make those mistakes.
मुझे तो बस पता है, अगर मैंने ट्विटर पे एक बार किसी की चाय की रेसिपी देख ली, ठीक है, अगर एक बार उन्होंने बता दिया ना मुझे कि लोटा कितना अच्छा होता है और लोटे से ही हमारे भाई तमद्दुन की शान है
रुको हम चाय
और
लेके
हमारी
आते
चाय
हैं.
किस तरह बनती है, मैं लैपटॉप जला दूंगी अपना उस दिन।
और हम श्रोताओं को बता दें कि Meg has actually gone and gotten a cup of chai.
I live for these moments. I live for these moments.
Chai is, my God, there is a lot of discourse around chai, and then people get upset when they call it chai tea. अरे भाई उनको नहीं पता कि वो tea है. Like it's fine to call it chai tea on some American menu. It's not the end of the world. Naan bread, नहीं पता है उनको कि naan is a bread.
Matcha.
Yes, it's fine.
अरे खरीद रहे ना तुम्हारा चूरन, बेच लो तुम, क्या है परेशानी?
So like I think 2020 में this was blowing up as a discourse, and then after the post pandemic मैं अभी बहुत deliberately जाके चाय टी लाटे मांगती हूँ, because I'm like हाँ ये जो भी आप बेच रहे हो ये अपना एक cultural moment है, ये चाय नहीं है. तो to distinguish between these two concepts, I would like to call this chai tea latte so that in my brain I know what I'm consuming and I have those expectations.
Brave of you to order the monstrosity that is a chai tea latte, but
It has its own charm. It's a nice sweet drink, cinnamony.
अरे नहीं, लेकिन साथियों, अगर हम एनेक्डोट से एनेक्डोट खेल ही रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं पता कि ये जगरनॉट की ऑडियंस वाला एनेक्डोट है या नहीं, लेकिन मैं बता सकती हूँ कि मैं 24 साल की थी जब मैं पहली बार कनाडा गई और पीएचडी के लिए मैगिल में। और 2 बार ऐसा हुआ कि एक बार जो मेरी पहली फ्लैटमेट थी, ऑफ कोर्स वेरी लविंग, ओपन हर हाउस एंड हार्ट टू मी। फॉर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, ऑफ कोर्स, it's a white woman. She was also a scholar. I really like her. We continue to be friends. But she asked me, no, give me the authentic recipe for this nihari that you made. The authentic recipe. मैं कहा, बहन शान मसाला डाला है तुम्हारे सामने, यही है authentic. No, but the kind that your mother makes. मैं कहा, मेरी मम्मी कोएड स्कूल में पढ़ा के आती थी यार, वहां पे लड़कों के चिल्लाने के बाद कुछ बची नहीं उनमें एनर्जी। नहीं नहीं, जो तुम्हारी नानी बनाने में, कहा नानी नानी निहारी क्यों बनाएंगी? मुझे नहीं पता। What do you mean authentic recipe? Like my mother was very old when she had me. My nanny was dead. तो उसके लिए बहुत बड़ा कल्चर शॉक था ये कि तो तुम मतलब मसाला तुम देखती भी नहीं, तुम ऐसे यूट्यूब से देख के बना रही हो। मगर हाँ, तुम यूट्यूब से नहीं देख रही, तुम्हारी मम्मी ने रेसिपी बुक बना के दी है तुम्हें। और the other one was, again, this is layered with their understanding of, okay, brown is Muslim. That's also a cultural thing that happens in Quebec. So Montreal is in Quebec, and for them, major immigrants are coming from the francophone world. तो ठीक है, तो वहां पे देयर वाज अ कॉन्फ्रेंस एंड दिस इज जेंटलमैन, और मैं वहां पर जाकर अपना तारुफ कराती हूँ और बताती हूँ उन्हें कि ओ हाय, मैंने अपने दोस्त से आपके बारे में सुना है, मेरा नाम सुमेरा है, एंड आई पुट माय हैंड फॉरवर्ड. दिस जेंटलमैन आल्सो अ स्कॉलर हैपेंस टू बी फ्रॉम द नेदरलैंड्स एंड दे आर very tall, very white, as what happens when you have good quality protein. वो मेरा हाथ मिलाते हुए कह रहे हैं कि ओ इन योर कल्चर वुमेन डोंट शेक हैंड्स. भाई, व्हाट इज इट? व्हाट डायस्पोरा हैव यू बीन इंटरैक्टिंग विद?
सर मैं
डू
दिल्ली से
नॉट शेक
हूँ.
माय. हाँ सर, मैं दिल्ली से हूँ. मेट्रो में तो मेरा निकाह हो चुका है अब तक, अगर ऐसी बात आप करके चलेंगे तो.
Women don't shake
अरे
hands.
देयर माइट बी पीपल हु विल, मतलब ऐसा हो सकता है कि लोग हों जो कह दें कि नो, इट्स फॉर माय रिलीजियस रीजंस, आई डोंट शेक हैंड्स विद द ऑपोजिट जेंडर. बिल्कुल एहतराम है उसका, जबरदस्ती थोड़ी ना है. बट भाई, what has happened with diaspora? What have they created for these other people? What do they think of us? Like, no, we come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. ठीक है, प्रोटीन अच्छा नहीं है तो 6 फुट इतने नहीं होते हैं हम, लेकिन ऐसे तो बात बात तो कर लो यार ठीक से, ये क्या हो रहा है?
इसी में like one question, तो this is like how a perception of say a white person of Indians, and इसमें like जो हमारी diaspora population है वो बहुत बुरी तरह फंस जाते हैं, because there could be like an amazing scholar, a white scholar, American scholar, or from the Netherlands, who would be like well versed in Farsi, in Sanskrit, इन हिंदी, लाइक वो आपके इनके कल्चर को, जो बच्चे हैं यहाँ के, इनके कल्चर को इनसे भी अच्छी तरह जानते हैं, बिकॉज वो दैट्स देयर स्कोप ऑफ रिसर्च, राइट? एंड सो दीज किड्स, इनके पेरेंट्स, बिकॉज a lot of these parents are if they're working class, they've grown up to understand that the only way out of this is for our child to become a doctor or a lawyer, or follow like a very western template of success. And so what's the use of giving my child in like desi culture if the objective is for them to escape this cycle? And the other thing is, of course, like अगर आपके parents doctors हैं, lawyers हैं, engineers हैं, तो उनका अलग ही चल रहा है कि भाई maths पढ़ो, science पढ़ो, humanities बेकार है. These kids then go to university, and then they encounter these people of dominant cultures, dominant races, who know more about their culture than they ever do, right? And then us context may they have to like go through this whole identity crisis where they're like, where does that leave me? Like, how do I become Indian like this?
There's a lot of performing your identity that happens when you're in the diaspora, because like my neighbor's kid, he's he's going to school, he's doing robotics and all of the other things that all the other kids his age are doing, and he's also like his mom wants him to also learn the Bhagavad Gita on the side, you know, just to imbibe some lessons of culture, sprinkling जैसे हल्दी डाल दी किसी dish में. It's like you're imbibing culture. They struggle a lot. Like I understand. Sometimes we are also very reductive. Like we should be also empathetic to a lot of the struggles of people. They've not Their engagement with the culture is pretty much what their parents told them and their parents' communities told them, and so yes, their lens is going to be super limited.
So with that in mind, like मेरा follow up यही है कि Amrita, as somebody who's like read a bunch of articles in the Juggernaut, like if that was one of the audiences for this magazine, it's people who have been given a very like either a very warped sense of India because of their parents, or have been living in a very negative culture of like a culture that kind of degrades brownness, be it desiness, be it Hispanic culture, be it whatever. Us context में, if that's the Juggernaut's audience, do you feel like it does that job of making people find some sense of, I don't know, joy in their quote unquote culture in like the most superficial way possible?
Yeah, exactly. It's very superficial. That's why I think they do a lot of articles, like Bollywood related articles, which is like the easiest entry point into Indian culture, quote unquote. Their founder is like very like a Bollywood fanatic. So many articles, so many articles. I think those are the articles that blow up the most as well. But that's what it is like for people like you said, having a little bit of an identity crisis. It's a way to find pride, and that's why it just ends there, right? Then there's no inspection of this identity, what it actually means, the caste question, you're questioning there's none of that. Because when you read this, it's just the white people have done us wrong and dirty. Here is the actual story, and then they'll give you like a 3,000 word article. There's no Like you're never going to actually, I feel like the people reading that are never going to see other perspectives or try to understand. A lot of their, like Ayurveda wellness sort of articles, that's the problem. They do like a
Yeah.
bunch of articles. They did there's one article about can saffron cure depression? And it starts like
Hmm.
when you read that article, it's like there's one drug deal that's going on where somebody's like selling a little saffron and then they're like, it was not a drug deal. Actually, it was saffron. And then they describe all of it. And then we knew for generations that this thing was good. That's why we were drinking it. And just so that it's balanced, they'll just add one quote from like a science educator or, like this liver doc sort of person. They'll add one quote who'll just be like, the amount of saffron that you're actually taking, even if these qualities existed in that much dosage, nothing's going to happen to you. They'll add one
Hmm.
quote. But in the end, if your conclusion is going to be no matter what the consensus is, saffron milk is a good drink to drink. What is your point? What is the point of this article?
Yeah, this is like peak diaspora
Yeah.
privilege because इंडिया में
Yeah.
असली ऑथेंटिक ज़ाफ़रान किधर मिल रहा है भाई मुझे बताओ।
Mhm.
मैं
हाँ.
कश्मीर में खेत से जाके लेके आई थी तब मिला था हाथ में
Mhm.
कि ये होता है असली saffron।
That's true.
No, for real,
हाँ.
like literally, I was there during the week when one of the times when I visited the week when the harvesting was happening. So I watched saffron being harvested, and the chief minister of the state was also there doing an event. And भाई तब मैंने देखा कि ओ ये होता है। एंड देन उन्होंने वो जो खेत पे काम कर रहे थे उन्होंने ही मुझे बोला कि देखिए आपको जो भी ज़ाफ़रान के नाम पे बेचा गया है वो नहीं है। यहाँ से जो आप लेके जाएंगे यही होगा। एंड पीक डायस्पोरा प्रिविलेज बिकॉज यहाँ पे यूएस में यू गेट सैफरन फ्रॉम ईरान, यू गेट इट फ्रॉम
Yeah.
so many Spain, you get it from so many places. So I buy saffron here and go give it to my mom, and like I take like 10 or 15 boxes and disperse it there कि ये लो असली saffron।
हाँ, नहीं सैफरन ट्रेडिंग तो मैंने भी करी है। देखिए सैफरन ट्रेड तक मुझे समझ में आ रहा था, उसके बाद मैं कहा यहाँ पे भाई क्या बात करें, एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स रिटेल हो जाएं वो इतना मुश्किल होता है, अस्पताल से ही जाकर खरीदनी पड़ती हैं। उसके ऊपर ये फेक न्यूज का और तांडव लगा रखा है कि नहीं नहीं, ओ माय गॉड, इफ यू हैव सैफरन इट कैन क्योर। वेयर, विद whom, व्हाई आर यू राइट?
Yeah, it can cure depression. And then there is another article about Sheila Jeet. My God, it took me a long time to go through that Sheila Jeet article because Sheila Jeet is a stupid, like a little resin that's found in the mountains, and mountain goats, lick the resin when they're injured.
Is Sheila Jeet the thing that Jackie
No,
Shroff used to sell?
I don't know if he was
नहीं,
selling it. A lot of people
was that
sell
a
it.
thing?
I don't know if he was selling.
वो masculine energy वाला
हाँ,
चीज
yes,
ना,
that.
was
Guys,
that
there is money in this. There is money in this cottage industry business. There is money to be had.
That's the only way. That's the only correct way to sell Sheila Jeet।
Ashwagandha. It
I'm
was
sure
very
there's an
popular.
Ashwagandha article.
Yes.
I didn't put it on the drive, but there is an Ashwagandha article and I have
Of
read
course
it.
there is.
भाई वो नाम ना उस चीज के लिए बिल्कुल सही है, इसलिए I'm so happy संस्कृत पढ़ा, मतलब it smells like horse।
Yeah.
I hope that's the correct meaning।
The question that you raised before about who their audience is, it sort of ties in with what you said. It's basically people with like an
Yeah.
identity crisis, and they are pandering to these people. I'm saying now, if you're having a crisis of who am I, what is my place, what is my identity, you don't want to hear the negative things about, or like sort of, even introspect about all of these things, bad things about your culture. So they are pandering exactly to that, which they'll give you all of these fun facts that you can learn, being like, this thing about my culture.
ये तो है। And, like I think I wanted to turn this question also to get Sumaira's take on this कि so Sumaira, you taught in some ways the kind of people who Juggernaut sees as their audience, right? And so in a lot of these students, especially undergrad first year, second year, they're coming in from different parts of Canada or different parts of the diaspora world, and being in that space, sometimes university space is like the first time that they would be meeting an erudite Indian, like somebody who really understands the culture, knows the culture, and they have their own sense of like what they think culture is, and then they take classes with
Yeah.
you, and then one of the jobs that I guess you find yourself in is to guide them through this maze of culture versus not culture,
Yeah.
right? And so in your experience, like how do you if this is your target audience, how do you create like academic content for them?
Hmm. I mean, I'll start with something that was very nice about teaching them is that it's always good to be their first time. Their first time reading, say, like an Urdu novel that is written by someone who satirizes religion. आप मुश्ताक अहमद यूसुफी उन्हें पढ़ा रहे हैं, उन्हें समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है हो क्या रहा है ये. It's their first time listening to, okay, I give them Maulana Amir Usmani in the Urdu language class, and I say, this is a ghazal. What is he? Maulana. What is a Maulana? So why do you think someone who is a religious figure will not be writing poetry and a poetry that involves a lot of alcohol? क्योंकि गजल का trope है. So it's and you can see that their eyes widen because this is not what they were expecting. Yeah, बहुत सारी readings में very deliberately I started giving them left writers in Hindi. क्यों आपको लग और दलित fiction in Hindi कि आपको क्यों लग रहा है कि nationalist historiography ही आप करेंगे? And they took it very well. So that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect where they would get very, very defensive is when we started studying colonial history. And then there were moments when you were trying to tell them, okay, it's not white man versus brown man. The brown man also has class and also has positions and caste and position within an extremely exploitative hierarchical system. Not everything is transatlantic slavery, much like not everything is, say, like the Spanish colonization of South America. Not everything is going to be about complete removal of hierarchies, or like the rise of Zionism and also Israel in the context of the Ottoman Empire is very, very different of how the British Empire is functioning here. So then they get defensive and imagine like, no, but these people were forced to fight this war. Like, yes, maybe they were, but not everyone is a subaltern soldier. Some people are also actively involved in this. Or that you bring them, okay, Lutyens Delhi, but no, they changed the face of Delhi. And it's like, yes, nobody is saying that the British created a gentle world here. But also, who are the people who are supplying cement to Lutyens? Who are the people who are building this place? Do you want to look up Sujan Singh Park? Who is Sujan Singh? How is he related to Khushwant Singh? Why is it that he has prime property right next to Khan Market? So for them, it's very, very difficult to imagine then, like, no, but these were Indian. It's like, no, those were industrialists in cahoots with colonial forces because those are the ones in power and they are the state. अब वो स्टेट तब्दील हो जाएगा, उनकी चमड़ी का रंग बदल जाएगा, हम भगत सिंह बन जाएंगे, हम गाते रहेंगे, बोलते रहेंगे कि ये क्या हुआ, कौन आजाद हुआ, किसके माथे से गुलामी की सियाही छूटी. Meanwhile, that's when they get defensive that, no, if it happened, the colonizer is entirely bad and the colonizer is always British and always monolithic. And this is not a system. So they don't understand the structural aspect of things. Or the other time when they get very, very defensive is any discussion of caste. When it's not even that, oh, they're not even saying caste is a colonial construct. They just resist that. Why is it that we should be discussing this in a context when we are only being seen as these brown immigrants and a monolithic community? Then why do you teach us this?
So in the classroom, it's like I'm sure a lot of them are their parents or their grandparents are from India, but you also have people from Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So in that mixed context, how do conversations of caste go? Like if it's say a student whose family is from Pakistan or somebody whose family is from Bangladesh.
I mean, it's really, really unfortunate, but I have no experience, very, very little experience teaching students from Bangladesh. But with Pakistan, there is plenty. And caste is not even a question they have encountered. Their resistance इसके तो होता ही नहीं है. अब आपको ने कितनी ही readings लगा लगा के बता दें कि नहीं, okay, these are sociologists telling you that this exists. These are scholars of religious history telling you that in the late 19th century, you have something called a shajara. लोग family trees बना बना के दिखा रहे हैं that we are part of the Shurafa and only we have access to land possession. ठीक है, I'm talking about at the time North India, so it's technically not modern day Pakistan. लेकिन of course it's the same kind of literary history that they're also seeing. They're part of the same culture and same lineage. वहाँ उनका सवाल हो जाता है कि नहीं, and unfortunately the students that I had from Pakistan were far more elite than anyone I've ever encountered. These were people who you could very clearly see that it's a kind of financial capital, cultural capital that's the Indian cohort was a lot wider. Again, it's not to say this is a monolithic or that they also did not very critically respond to what was being taught to them. वो नहीं मैं कह रही, लेकिन एक immediate defensive attitude जरूर आता है क्योंकि ये भी है that scholarship of this kind from Pakistan is only coming forward. When they say South Asia, they do mean India, especially North India. So they also get very upset. Like you said, the course is Islam in South Asia. सारी reading तो लखनऊ की लगा दी है. And which does happen, and I don't know how much Juggernaut has featured readings from Pakistan. If I may plug in, like Jamhoor magazine is
वो
really
कौन सा
good.
दक्षिणी उर्दू के बारे में बात कर रहे
किसके
हैं?
बारे में बात करें?
दक्षिणी उर्दू के बारे में थोड़ी
क्यों
बात कर
करेंगे
रहे हैं वो
वो?
लोग.
क्यों नहीं करेंगे? सो उनके साथ भी हाँ मसला तो ये जरूर आता है एंड बट आई फील एटलीस्ट जो दूसरी चीज इट्स नॉट सेल्फ हेटिंग बट द किड्स हु हैव द स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव बिकम वेरी वेरी पॉलिटिकली एक्टिव उनके साथ हाँ ये परेशानी हमेशा हो जाती है कि आप थोड़ा ये भी देखिए ना दैट दिस इज आई डोंट थिंक इट्स सेल्फ हेट्रेड बट जस्ट अ कंप्लीट लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस बिकॉज दे नॉट बीइंग गिवन द राइट काइंड ऑफ सोर्सेज आज जब तुम्हें पेरियार पढ़ने को दिया ही नहीं जा रहा तो तुम्हें क्या पता लगेगा या तुम माइनॉरिटी राइट्स की रीडिंग्स जोया चैटर्जी पढ़ के और तुम जिन्ना की हिस्टोरियोग्राफी नहीं नहीं पढ़ रहे हो तो तुम्हें क्या ही पता लगेगा तुम कम्युनल सेक्टेरियन ऐसे ऐसे अल्फाज ही तो इस्तेमाल करते रहोगे and I think it becomes they do become very aggravated when we do colonial historiography because then it's either going to one side of ये तो the British created this divide and rule मैं आपको बता दूं कि काउ रिलेटेड रायट्स आनंद ज्ञान की आपको रीडिंग दी थी मैंने कल अब अगर आप बिल्कुल ही अकल अंधे नहीं है आपने उसमें रीडिंग में देखा था कि साल कौन सा है जब 1870 से दंगे हो रहे हैं तो आप क्यों कह रहे हैं कि डिवाइड एंड रूल हो गया So those are the parts where it's always, no, the white man did this, but we were all perfectly comfortable and absolutely fine when this had happened, which is a usual thing. It happens and we try to get over it repeatedly in class.
I mean, even I've heard arguments that the caste traditions also were sort of driven by the British as well. Like this is an argument that I hear on the right a lot. So I think the caste, the class and caste, I combined it into one word, but yeah, that is very interesting, and that comes into the next point, which is related to Juggernaut, which is that recently there was a there is this influencer and Instagrammer. I think she's on other formats as well, but called Pujarini Pradhan, who goes by Life of Puja, who makes these reels. She's someone who seems to have had like some kind of a liberal arts education, but was forced to get married, like in slightly lower class communities. They're generally forced to in India, and now is in a rural setting, but is getting a lot of the same brand deals that put her at odds with the existing urban influencers that appeal to a completely different audience.
I have a
And
lot of thoughts.
okay, I will just leave it up to you, Meg. Go ahead, start with your thoughts, and then we'll go to Amrita and Sumaira.
हाँ एक छोटा सा टाइमलाइन बनाते हैं मतलब I'm sure many people have their own version of this timeline but I spent again my because I've been on Twitter since 2010 this was a very familiar moment when things blew up and so I was forced to look up everything so yeah timeline wise yeah as you correctly said 2020 to 2021 22 also जो एक पैंडेमिक का मोमेंट था उसमें आई थिंक पुजारिनी प्रधान लाइफ ऑफ पूजा her account she presented this very fresh perspective where has this very daughter of the soil persona she is talking about some very very real very painful struggles about what it means to what are the limitations of women empowerment कि आपने women empower किया है but only conditions apply if you manage to leave your small rural space and go to Bangalore or go to Delhi then while you are in those places for the limited period that you're there you will have empowerment and if circumstances economic circumstances pandemics force you to come back to your location there is always this threat that you will leave so the first life of puja and maybe the only content that made organically hit my feed was this video where she talked about how her experience wearing jeans that when she was in Bangalore she got to wear jeans and wear kurtas and that was something that made her like feel very like herself and so it was the thrill of being able to dress in this very urban way and how much she loved it and how that was something very painful because she had to when she came back to her rural context and her parents told her that there's no choice now but for you to get married we can't sorry I mean this is it for you it's not possible for her where she lives to dress that way and so there is a specific kind of way in which she has to dress this very conservative way which is the only way that she will be allowed to be free in other ways so I have to give up my deep desire to dress in this progressive way but by dressing in this very conservative way I get to be progressive in my life I get to read books I get to I have freedom of movement in the space, rural space where I live. I get to have this career. I get to be in front of a camera. I get to earn a living. I get to be empowered. And I thought that was like a just such a amazing way to put it. Ki, हाँ, we see this sometime, right? Like there's a performance of progressiveness where आप लोग मतलब jeans पहन रहे हो, t-shirt पहन रहे हो, shorts पहन रहे हो, whatever, like your urban Delhi girl look, जो बहुत like fetishize हुआ गया है. And you think that, oh, this is freedom, but then you actually look at like the extremely rich, hyper rich urban Delhi girls life, and how much conformity there is, like कितना caste conformity करना पड़ता है, gender conformity करना पड़ता है. तो तुम shorts पहन सकते हो, but you cannot work for a living. You can't, like you'll still have to marry like whichever boy your parents force you to marry. और फिर तुमको मतलब करण जौहर के गाने पे संगीत में नाचना पड़ेगा. और शादी में विदाई में रोना पड़ेगा, right? And so
दिन
I was
शगना
very
का.
so, and so I see this content and I'm like, yeah, and I was just like, wow, I'm so happy that someone is saying this. And when the first thing I did was I shared this with my mom, and my mom and I had like this very long conversation where my mother's like, yeah, this like, oh my God, this person gets me. I'm from rural Tamil Nadu, and I went to Delhi, and she is from rural Bengal, and she went to Bangalore, and like 20 साल 25 साल 30 साल हो चुके हैं, but we are having the same experience. Yeah, I went to Delhi, I was wearing a sari, like, like this mismatch between what I see as progressiveness and what is progressiveness. Like my parents sending me to study to Delhi. That's real women's empowerment, right? Wearing jeans is not. And so anyway, so that I saw that, and that's the only content I saw, and then I forgot about her. कि ये हैं. I
Yeah,
was like, good for her. Like enjoy your life. ऐसा बोल के मैंने
sure.
इनको
Yeah.
जाने दिया इधर में. And then, like, now again, it hits my feed, and I see that it's the same tension, except this time, this urban cluster of people, जिनके बारे में Life of Pooja ने इतना एक nuanced take दिया था, those same people are completely missing the point, and they are considering this tension to be like a industry plant.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, so that when I saw that, I was like, I was just that, yeah, this is our limitation, guys. Like this is a failing. Like हम लोग ज़्यादा पढ़ लिख लिए हैं, हम लोग के पास ज़्यादा fancy words आ गए हैं, और हमारे जो fancy words है और हमारी जो performance of education है, performance of intellect है, performance of progressiveness है, this person is not looking like that. And so we are, there is this intense desire to call this, structure this as someone's trying to sell you something. But तुम भी तो वही कर रहे थे. You're also selling an idea of progressiveness.
Go ahead, Amrita. Do you want to come in?
I don't understand, first of all. It was so irritating. So the person who started all of this, that Aishwarya, whatever, I used to follow her, and it's just it was such a classic take. I'm like, of course you said this. She's just, I don't know, everybody just has to play a character online, and hers is just trying to be like this. I will try to aggravate everybody all the time, and I will try to be unhinged or whatever. That was what it was. And it just got so much traction. It's just very irritating how much it blew up, but makes sense, of course. We all like Twitter beef.
I will quote Reddit user alone_highway 9449 for their very nuanced take on this. Another thing I found amusing is that other Varya or Aishwarya just put out 3 reels saying pretty much nothing of value, imparting the age-old wisdom of not trusting anything and everyone on the internet blindly, but with 3 to 4 buzzwords thrown in and there and keeping it palatable for everyone. She has neither engaged critically with Pooja's content or the machinery of her content creation, nor with the other person's opinion on it. She's talking about Pooja the influencer,
Yes.
which is a new phenomenon. I mean, the quote keeps going on, but essentially that it's a person who's reflexively in a very one-dimensional way doing something for the sake of audience building, but it's not real engagement.
And she'll keep doing this every few years. It's not the first time. She blew up one time. She's blown up like twice or thrice. I think Buffalo
Oh
Internet had done
no.
like a bunch of articles on
Oh.
Squaddle. She blew up that time also.
Wait,
She blew up
what
that
made
time
her blow
also.
up?
She used the word Savarna guilt. And he's just like, अभी guilt भी आ रहा है सवर्णस को. This is what
liberal self-flagellation is how I phrase it. But yeah, कि वो there's a cluster of people जो content बनाते हैं, वो जो एक self-flagellation का जो एक desire होता है उसको satisfy करने के लिए. And I'm not accusing any content creator of it, but there are certain people who only create content so that a Savarna liberal person can go, oh my God, हम लोग कितने बुरे हैं. हम लोग तो ठीक हो ही नहीं सकते. And then like after that self-flagellation session is done, your self-flagellation is your activism, and then you go back to your life कि देखो मैंने 1 hour अपने आप को self-flagellate किया. Now I don't need to do
Mona,
anything
it's like
anymore.
their Ganga Snan, कि जाके it's you purify yourself and then you go and you do the same old shit then every day in your life, but you're fine क्योंकि तुमने वो थोड़े टाइम के लिए गंगा स्नान कर लिया है. Anyway,
Sorry, I'm just saying, just pointing out that, yeah, Richa, I like how we are looking at this like as very different religious experiences.
That was the point she was trying to make, basically. Ki those articles, people who like those articles have Savarna guilt. That was the point she was trying to make. Make the point. No. Will she just make the point? No. She'll say all of these things being forcing us to date people and everything, which is not the point of the article. I'm saying she also knows that's not the point of the article. What she'll do is make this like really unhinged way of saying something. There'll be one way of saying it. It's like just using a double negative just so that people will be like, how dare you say this? Then she'll be like, oh, you missed the point I was trying to make. You could have made your point in a better way. You will like make sure people get outraged and then be like, why are you outraged? I wanted you to outrage. It's just very rage baity like that.
yes, I feel like Adarvarya could have said this, like, why aren't you seeing her, Pujarini Pradhan, as a full person and not as a project that you have fallen in love with? I feel like
That's
maybe
all.
this is what she was trying to say,
That's
but she
all.
said it in the worst way possible.
One second, maybe we should summarize what Adarvarya and I am therapist were to this story. So again, Pujarini Pradhan's content is kind of coming up. She's signing deals, and then you have the therapist person and Adarvarya. Without going into the specifics of their content, they're essentially building this story that you should be cautious of these new content creators because there is industry plants as a concept where you have marketing companies that basically supply content, supply words, supply ways of creating content to certain people who look very different, and then use that person's inorganic or organic success to sell products, as opposed to the urban Bombay Delhi influencers जिनका authentic है, जिनका influencer persona authentic है, कि उनका वो अंदर से अपना अपना talent use करके influencer बने, and then brands came to them to ask them to sell lipstick. In this case, brands figured out कि हाँ लिपस्टिक बेचने के लिए हम अपना इन्फ्लुएंसर खुद भी तो खड़ा कर सकते हैं, and then the accusation is that that's what life of Pooja as a content is.
मुझे लेकिन ये बात समझ नहीं आई, इंटरनेट पे तो हम सभी क्यूरेटेड हैं. मैं थोड़ी ना
Yes.
अपनी असली अनहिंज शख्सियत रख दूंगी अपने ट्विटर पे. क्या परेशानी है? मत खरीदो लिपस्टिक, या ले लो, दोनों से ले लो, दोनों से मत लो, क्या परेशानी है? बेच तो सभी रहे हैं.
Exactly. When it comes to the urban influencer space, other Varya, for example, a very important facet of her expertise is that she is a marketing professional. She worked for Vogue India. She's worked for major campaigns. She understands this market, and she presents this very raw, unhinged ट्विटर पॉइजनड पर्सन जो मतलब अपने सेक्सुअल लाइफ के बारे में बहुत ओपनली बात करती है, जो who comments on things in a very raw way, and so you're supposed to trust her because she's quote unquote uncurated, but you scratch the surface and as Amrita correctly pointed out ki uske words maybe like there's no substance in the writing, and that's where therein lies the curation. Like you cannot be very deep, you cannot actually be intellectual, you can't actually question capitalism, or you can't actually provide a Marxist lens. तुम वो सब करोगे तो तुम लिपस्टिक कैसे बेचोगे? And so you have to do this, guys. Capitalism bad vibes, guys. Vibes. And so like this hollow feminism, hollow Marxism, hollow left flavored content, which is again it is curated, like you said, Sumaira.
ये लिपस्टिक ने कितनों की लंका ढाली है यार, क्या मुसीबत है. तो वैसे मुझे मुझे तो डर लग गया था इनके कि अपेरेंट पहले ये रेज बेट हो रही थी, लाइक अमृता सेड,
हम्म
ठीक, और उसके बाद रेज बेट तक तो मुझे समझ में आ रहा था कि ठीक है, जानबूझ के आप गुस्सा दिलाना चाह रहे हैं और एंगेजमेंट होगा, रीट्वीट्स होंगी, पोस्ट्स होंगी, बाद में माफी तलाफी तो कुछ होगी नहीं, फिर कुछ कह देना, धारा बदल देना। फिर आया कि एंगेजमेंट फार्मिंग हो रही है, और एंगेजमेंट फार्मिंग जो कर रहे हैं वो ऑथेंटिकली जो कर रहे हैं वो अलग हैं, जो इनऑथेंटिक हैं वो नहीं है। उससे फिर ऑथेंटिसिटी, व्हाट इज द पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ ऑथेंटिसिटी ऑन अ साइट वेर यू आर ऑलरेडी क्यूरेटेड। आधे वक्त तो फॉर समवन हु इज, आई एम परपेचुअली ऑनलाइन ऑन पिंटरेस्ट, आई एम नॉट परपेचुअली ऑनलाइन ऑन ट्विटर, आधे वक्त मुझे जेनुअली मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया नाराजगी किस बात की है। मत खरीदो लिपस्टिक, चूरन ही तो बेच रही है। या बट यस, एंगेजमेंट फार्मिंग वर्क्स दिस वे एंड वर्क्स परफेक्टली वेल, क्योंकि अब पॉडकास्ट में आपको रेफरेंस किया जाएगा, हमारे पॉडकास्ट में बताया जाएगा। मुझे जैसा इंसान जो इंस्टाग्राम पे भी नहीं है, उसे ये पता है कि अदर वरिया का एक अकाउंट है जिससे लड़ाई हुई थी। एंड इन अ वे आई डू फाइंड इट फैसिनेटिंग कि ये हुई ना ऑथेंटिसिटी की बात, हम एल्गोरिथम हमारे पास नहीं लेकर आ रहे, हम एल्गोरिथम में बस जाएंगे।
Yes.
as a Twitter poisoned person, yeah, like I completely get that कि ये अदरवारिया का वो एक साइड है जो हाँ मुझे बहुत आकर्षित करता है कि हाँ यार, this person sounds like they've been on Twitter for 10 years and like they get it, which also makes me deeply suspicious because I'm like, if you've been on Twitter for 10 years, you know how Twitter villain of the day works. It's a very particular cultural trope of existence on this website where every conversation, every facet is one sided, and you have only 150 characters, and you can't do a back and forth with people, and the only way people can engage with content on Twitter is by disagreeing or by being vitriolic. अच्छी चीज बोल के किसी का सिग्नल बूस्ट होता नहीं है, नफरत से ही होता है।
Hmm.
तो आप उस वेबसाइट पे so many times like she has blown up so many times on for saying unhinged things on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah, you know what you're doing. So in
Yes.
the context of this Life of Pooja context, it did sound like she made three, part one, part two, part three, she made three videos. She was very clear that उसको वो अपनी कबड्डी खेल रही है कि she'll take her point to that line and then come back and be like, wow, you're so pressed when you hear this.
Yeah.
Put a pin on in
Hmm.
people using lingo like this.
There's something that happened which I think is a nice way to tie a bow on this, is that after this, other Varia started premium membership for for followers,
Oh,
paid followers on Instagram. So she was
yeah,
able to monetize enough and get enough followers that people have started paying
amazing,
for some of her posts, which
amazing.
is
For the
And then,
longest time, she used to say, I don't do sponsored content. I'm like
uh,
authentic. I'm not an influencer. Nobody can force me to sell things. For the longest time, this was her spiel. I've been
Mhm.
following her
yeah,
too, like for a really long time, and I obviously like unfollowed now, but it's just
uh,
that's what I'm saying. The self-flagellation thing that you were saying, that's what she was literally making that point. The way she made it, if I tell you, like about this, so that article that she was referencing is called Dating Like a Savannah. It blew up like during the lockdown, I believe. But after that point, about one self-flagellation point, she started talking about all of these. This is a thing that she does where people DM her like these really personal details, and she'll anonymously post it with some commentary of her own. So somebody's just like, I will never like, have sex with like Bihari men. I'm saying it very nicely. These were not the words that were used. They were
Who
very
said this?
like
Sorry, who said this?
vitriolic. Some of her followers like messaged her, and then she's like, yeah, and then they make a list of people like that they will not have sex with. All of this shit. I'm telling you, how is this about now? Of course, everybody's going to focus on that, being like, how are you saying these things? And then she'll be like, wo to main kuch bhi bol rahi thi. The real point is about self-flagellation, but you've missed the point. They have a list of like names of men that they won't have sex with. It's just all. I was like, what is happening on her Instagram? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, like they'll never sleep with an Anshul or
Yeah, yeah.
there are certain men's names that they will never
I,
sleep with.
yeah.
Whatever.
yeah, and then there are Japanese YouTube channels like Choki, who's not even showing her face. She's very quietly just going about her day. She's got two furry cats, चाय बना रही है बेचारी, अंडे उबाल रही है, वो भी तो चल रहा है. Why can't we have more of this, like whatever lounge farmland trad without being the wife part?
At least we're not doing those pornographic bakers anymore.
Oh, I love that
Those
girl. There was that the one who used to taste things with chopsticks. इसका टेस्ट मुझे स्वादिष्ट लगा. I don't know her name at all. Like she showed up on my feed a few times and I'm like, ये किस group of internet poisoned men के लिए बना है? Oh my God. So she would taste new things with chopsticks, okay? And she would have like these plunging necklines and like deeply sexualized presentation while putting things in her mouth. And yeah, it was there was some content cop type of videos that people had made calling her out. तब मुझे पता लगा. But yeah, there are people like that also on the internet. But ये इनका भी एक तरह से टाइम चला भी जा रहा है ना, like the urban women that we're talking about. Part of their brand is also like this perpetual singlehood or like glorification of dating. And I'm like, देखो हम इंडिया में हैं, यहाँ पर तुम कुछ भी कर लो, तुम डेट कर लो, तुम शादी कर लो, अंत में तुमको वही मिसोजिनी मिलने वाली है. मे बी तुम्हारा, इफ यू आर लकी, योर पार्टनर विल डू 40% ऑफ द लेबर एंड तुमको 60% करने को मिलेगा. बट हु आर वी किडिंग? हमको कुछ बहुत बड़ा फेमिनिज्म नहीं मिलने वाला है यहाँ पे. तो तुम डेट करके तुम कुछ ट्रोप पाथ ब्रेकिंग चीज कर नहीं रहे हो. जस्ट तुम यू हैव द प्रिविलेज टू यू नो look for your own partner and other people don't have it. So another thing which didn't get talked about a lot was also like these women who empowered women who stand on their own feet, who don't have family networks, who are like themselves, versus a woman who is a mother, like उसका छोटा सा बच्चा है, वो अपने बच्चे के बारे में वीडियोस बनाती है. She's embedded in her community. Her husband, she has a husband, and the husband was, and
Yeah.
the marriage was the reason why she had to move to this rural place. She lives with her in-laws who impose constraints. She wears certain clothes in order to win victories in other spheres. And so she's आदर्श नारी type of एक persona है life of पूजा का, जो अगर आप उसको बहुत superficially लेते हो, if you only take it at face value, it will look like something that a lot of people want to reflexively fight against. And I say that as a single woman. I'm not bitter at all, guys. Not bitter at all.
नहीं, ये point correct है. Like, yeah, I feel like reflexively people are suspicious of anything that is trad wife content for good reason. And on the right, especially online, I think we did a pod on this last year, or was it the year before, Amrita, where we went through a lot of these like chote influencers from smaller towns, tier 2, tier 3 town influencers that very performatively do the trad
Yeah.
wife role, and they sell
Yep,
you
micro celeb.
fascism at the end of
Mm.
the day, right? That's what they're selling you. So I understand the suspicion, but yeah, like, why aren't we asking how other Arya makes a living? Why aren't we asking how these other people make a living? Like, why are a lot of the initial criticism for Life of Pooja was like, oh, there's no way that she has this much time in her day to, edit and make content and also like cook and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but same for you. Like, you're showing a very curated version of your life. Who has the time to do anything these days? Like,
Mm.
what are we saying? But yeah, it's very interesting because I see a little. I think we're on our, what is it, our eighth or 10th wave of feminism now that we'll probably see, which is going, which is going to be, I think that what we're unhelpfully going to see is a lot of like different classes of feminism, sort of against each other. But what I saw is a good example of a good model for what Savarna feminists can actually aim aim to do is what I don't know if you saw this video recently of this woman in Mumbai who's yelling at a mob.
Yes.
Not a mob, it's like a procession of protesters who are protesting like literally like a farcical women's reservation bill, but she's yelling at them.
Yeah.
And she's using her privilege, and
Yeah.
yes, she's privileged. She's wearing a Nike
Yeah.
cap and big athleisure, which should be banned in public, but people then continue to wear it. Um, she's yelling at this person. She's using, and you can see that that politician doesn't know how to respond to her, because if he yells back at her, he's going to look, as someone who's supporting a women's reservation bill, he can't be seen as like yelling back at her, but he asked the policeman to do it. And if this was anyone other than like a Savarna woman, that these things wouldn't end well for them.
or a woman who looks like life of puja, like pujarini pradhan, where आप उस तरह का and I think that's the beauty that a lot of people have also pointed this out, that pujarani pradhan is also a woman based in Bengal. Like, she comes from a tradition where knowledge, where
Yeah.
women are have historically been empowered in a way that's very different from your Hindi belt and from many other parts of India. So when you see
Yes.
that performance, like when you see a woman dressed that way, अगर आप रिफ्लेक्सिवली आपका 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 माइंड कहता है कि ओ ये ट्रैड कंटेंट बेचने वाली है, ये फैशिज्म बेचने वाली है, लाइक नॉट सेइंग यू आर डूइंग इट, बट व्हेन एनीवन डज दैट, व्हाट यू आर
Mm-hmm.
एसेंशियली सेइंग इज दैट इंडिया में डाइवर्सिटी है ही नहीं, right? You forget that,
Mm.
this
Yeah.
is a person with the powerful legacy of the place where they are based in. And even if, and the fact that their parents, her parents sent her out
Mm.
of the state to study somewhere, and like all of this comes from a certain historical context. But even isme, like, I think ek to hai going forward, but also looking back. Like, I recently saw I listened to an episode by the podcast In Bed with the Right, and they did a profile of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who is one of the so she was one of the early suffragettes, and it's a very complicated history. Like, she was deeply white supremacist in later life, but the other facet of her life was that she was a married woman. So she had like 7 or 8 children, and she had this useless husband, in her words. And she was friends with Susan B. Anthony, who was complete opposite of her. Like, Susan B. Anthony was somebody who did not marry, who was feminist in a very quote unquote modern sense, where like marriage is like, I cannot be disempowered by having a man control my life. That was her position. And the person that she was working with, the person who kind of intellectually led this movement and was friends with Frederick Douglass for a little while, is this woman who's married, who married very young also, and like lived with her husband and continued to have a married life for like long enough to have 8 children, raise them. And all of this time was also saying religion stupid, women should have rights. No. So ek tarah se, agar if you only look at like, oh, she's a married woman with 7 children,
Yeah.
that makes you think of who? Like, makes you think of a trad wife from YouTube today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and visibly Muslim women online have been countering this for years at this point.
Yeah.
I'm, again, anecdote for anecdote kind of situation where I'm looking at all these wedding videos of women who are what you would consider quote unquote girl boss. So, they've made their careers, they are corporate lawyers, or they are social media influencers, and nobody is questioning their feminist credentials while they are engaging one of the most patriarchal institutions of all times. Like, this is literally here, it's a marriage, it's a wedding, it's here to control your sexuality and ensure that property is transferred to the next child that you birth. But nobody is questioning their feminist credentials, even as they are quoting it in these wedding videos. They're all cringe. You all want to throw Nivedita Menon at them. It's like, what are you saying? Enjoy a party, enjoy a goddamn party. Why do you have to make it a feminist ideal here? और पंडित नहीं बुलाई है, पंडितानी बुलाई.
अरे
What
घोड़ी
are you
चढ़ी है
doing?
हमारी ब्राइड ने, गर्ल पावर.
मंगलसूत्र पहना
सबसे
है.
कन्वेंशनल वो, अरे कास्ट प्रिविलेज इंटैक्ट रख के सबसे कन्वेंशनल चॉइसेस लेकर, और उसके बाद मैं डिस्कस करके बताऊंगी कि हाउ आई डिड नॉट बिलीव इन द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ. कर तो रही हो ना बहन, रिलैक्स करो, जस्ट एंजॉय. मैरिज इज क्रिंज, लव इज क्रिंज, एंजॉय इट. Meanwhile, if it's a visibly Muslim woman, no matter how politically active she might be, no matter how active on the streets she might be, you can demolish her house and arrest her father. All you can notice is the scarf on her head, and that somehow makes us an inferior woman who does not understand mass movements or political mobilization. वो देखे I get very, very aggravated that how is it that you are questioning every single choice we've ever made? The subtext is always, oh, will you get married early, or will your education stop? Or even though we've always made choices in, that you would consider to be feminist, वहां पे कोई आपको वर्चू नहीं मिलने वाली है. एंड यहाँ पर सारा जूडिथ बटलर मचा के शादी की है. कोई सवाल नहीं होगा आपसे.
Yeah, I think Richa, since you're the only person who's had a wedding ceremony, we didn't mean to call you
Sorry,
out.
Richa. Happy wedding.
देखो, throughout your life you have to make choices, and you have to pick your battles, and there has to be an acceptance. Like, someone may not pick the battles that you would have picked, and that's fine. The problem is when we're saying that we don't have space for a certain kind of feminism, or we don't have space for a feminism that looks a certain way that may not appeal to you, like that's not correct. We have a big tent. There's space for everybody. Everyone is fighting their own little, krantis on the side. सबका है,
Correct.
सब कर रहे हैं. The
Yeah.
least you can do is not.
तो शादी मुबारक हो, वो मैं नहीं कहना चाह रही थी.
10 साल हो गए शादी को. It's fine.
But to tie us back to what we were talking about, which was Juggernaut. They had to get involved in this because they think picking the latest Twitter trend equals culture writing.
When a topic like Juggernaut comes up, and when it's internet culture, it's such an interwoven web. And so
Yeah,
we-
no.
right, so we went from like a rural a content creator from rural Bengal minding her own business, doing her own thing. The second step was urban creators who had first mover advantage, and who built their own internet characters, and their own internet space, not with positivity, not with wholesomeness, but with like this very sharp edge. Authenticity means being messy type of persona. That's the second step. So content bana, again, Pujarini Pradhan ji, living her best life, kept getting catapulted into the fight. And by the time this the I am a therapist and other Varya characters, I'm not familiar with their work at all before this, got involved. By this time, a bunch of Bollywood actresses, a bunch of very famous people also got involved in this discussion, and most of them threw their weight behind other Warrior, and everyone was like, a lot of questions were unanswered, that how is this Bombay influencer connected to
Why
all
is
of
she
these
friends with
Bollywood
Kiran
people?
Rao?
Like, what's the connection here? Why is everybody like siding with these people who are not really saying anything?
She used to be the editor at Elle, deputy editor or something at Elle. All of these celebrity interviews she's done, she's done a bunch of celebrity interviews for a bunch of like fashion magazines. That's like the connection.
Exactly. So yeah, once that became apparent, that was the second aspect. And now abhi India ke andar chal raha hai ye sab, like whatever the drama that's happening is controlled and contained inside India. Then it goes and this was the day I actually was on Twitter, coincidentally. So the third layer is basically Juggernaut Magazine's one of their contributors or like co-owners, Tulika Bose, trying to DM and connect with Life of Pooja because they want to do Life of Pooja the honor of featuring her on their international platform and pass the mic. And okay, I'm bitter about this, but so they try to reach out, and so you've got Tulika Bose trying to reach out to this to Pujarini Pradhan, जो अपने Twitter account से DM accept नहीं कर रही है, DM request accept नहीं कर रही है. So Tulika Bose figured the best way to go about this and is to use an imperative sentence that. And Twitter one dimensionality. It sounded like she was almost ordering Pujarini Pradhan to accept her DM request. And that language, because it's Twitter, because people are so eager to create a Twitter villain of the day, the fact that there was no please in there, the fact that there was no can you in there, no modalities, no softness of the language, word usage को control करने के चक्कर में वो sentence जिस तरह construct हुआ, उसमें it became, who is this Indian American juggernaut person? How dare she order our beloved Pujarini Pradhan ji, who's already being under like massive fire from multiple fronts? Who is she to order her to answer a DM? Kyun kare? And this draws into the Twitter villain of the day ka construction, where this one tweet started a journey for Tulika Bose, which made her the Twitter villain of the day, because it went from an Indian American person with a lot of privilege is talking to a रूरल इंडियन क्रिएटर in a very rude way, अच्छी बात नहीं है. यहाँ पे ये एक छोटे से एक पॉइंट पे स्टार्ट हुआ था, and it went the next step of abstraction of this was hey, Juggernaut is trash, or
Juggernaut is the worst.
Juggernaut is just the worst. Sorry, Juggernaut is just the worst. And so that's your next layer of abstraction, where the language you're using to talk to a potential contributing author is not okay, say. your entire publication is the worst. Extreme,
हाँ
right? And that
There were some steps that we got there, right? So they did a couple of very stupid things.
ये हाँ exactly. So ये छोटे छोटे steps से ये start था. This is where all context got lost. And then the juggernaut of this Twitter beef was unleashed.
That's true. To connect it all the way around to our initial point. Yeah.
I did, and now I'm like I have to watch. I mean, when the juggernaut rolls around, what do you do but stand back and watch? मैं इस juggernaut के सामने गिर के अपनी I'm not going to be crushed by it, bro. I'm now I need to know who Mahdi Chaudhary is and ये कौन है जो पढ़े हैं and why does he think juggernaut is the worst? I also think that, but
yeah
I want to know why he thinks it. And so juggernaut in the worst वाला जो एक abstraction हुआ that instantly made we got our villain of the day. Like, is it Juggernaut or is it Tulika Bose? Time will tell. And right, the moment this happened, again, because when you become villain of the day, millions of people are like saying terrible things to you, and so your defense instinct immediately clicks in, and it happens to everybody. Rather than logging off, forgetting about it, coming back in 3 days, you spend your day trying to justify yourself. And that's exactly what Tulika Bose did. And she made a series of more and more unhinged responses to Mahdi Chaudhary, which went from
I will be getting in touch with your university were the
Yes.
exact words.
yes. And as soon as this happened, and this is where the Desi academia of it all happens, because जैसे ही ये हुआ, we went from abstraction to other people deciding to adopt this drama where 80 people on my timeline are sly tweeting Tulika Bose and Madhi Chaudhary by saying, if you see my student saying something ridiculous on Twitter, please don't contact me. And I'm like, right? And then you see it without context. Like, what do you mean? What does this mean? What are you referring to? And so, and यहाँ पे engagement farming होती है, because the moment you see something vague like this, a vague post or a sly post, whatever is the word we want to use, everyone's like, you want to know what the context is, right? क्या है? T क्या है? And then you read the quote tweets and then you're like, oh ho, कोई एक grad student था और ये जगरनॉट की editor थी, उन दोनों के बीच में exchange हुआ और अब 80 प्रोफेसर लोग इसी एक ही अनओरिजिनल चीज को कॉपी पेस्ट करके डाल रहे हैं. Now everybody is like tweet hot take pro max is that हाँ मेरे स्टूडेंट्स अगर बकचोदी करें तो मुझे मत बताओ. One last thing in all of this, Pujarni Pradhan chooses to not involve herself in this and does not accept the DM request.
She says no interviews. I'm not giving any interviews to journalists. But no, I just want to add one more stupid thing that Juggernaut did. Their editor, founder editor, Snigdha, she found an email 7 years ago that Mehdi has sent to them for a pitch request and said, oh, funny that you should mention this. And she posted a screenshot of an email that he sent for a pitch, like he's like pitching it to somebody. How petty do you have to be 7 years ago? And of course, they didn't end up looking good in all of this. I don't know what they thought would happen.
यस्टरडे स्कॉलर अपने कान बंद कर लें, लेकिन मुझे तो लग रहा है क्या यही एंगेजमेंट फार्मिंग है? क्या हम फार्म हो रहे हैं?
Exactly this. कि ये कौन कर रहा है पता नहीं, because when you become villain of the day, you have your choices are quite limited. अगर आप एक well adjusted इंसान हो तो आपको पता है कि ये this will not translate into people actually buying Juggernaut subscriptions, and so you would probably try to course correct. But when you're a Twitter poisoned person, you will fight back and you will इस दलदल में आप और खींचते चले जाओगे.
And when you wake up in the morning, you want to know, you want to know what the person you follow, your favorite Twitter personalities, what they have to say about both of these things, right? So that becomes another thing. And you also, as someone who has a Twitter following, like if you are, I don't have one, but if you are somebody who has a Twitter following, then you feel compelled also to comment on these things, right? Because you're like, yeah, I need to continue the engagement. Otherwise, people are like, oh, this person is not really relevant. That relevancy thing is very powerful. Like it's such a heady mixture of FOMO and like just worrying, am I still relevant? Is my time gone? Is my 15 minutes of fame, has that passed me by?
Exactly. And again, and with Tulika Bose, she was able to win a lot of these arguments with Indian Americans and white people by saying कि I'm a marginalized woman,
हम्म
इसलिए तू मुझे
Mhm.
ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते. So she tried all of those
Mhm.
arguments and they did not work because she was talking to a PhD student, international PhD student from Bangladesh in
एग्जैक्टली
our year of the Lord 2026. And you can't play Operation Olympics in right now with anybody who is an immigrant. It's just not going to work. And so she tried. मैं scholarship kid थी, which again, everybody missed up, like what does that even mean? तुम scholarship kid थी.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Sucks to be American, I guess.
And she's still going on about it because yesterday I saw her tweets
Trust fund kids, guys. Trust fund kids are ruining journalism.
and somebody asked, yeah, what is a trust fund? Who is a trust fund
Exactly,
journalist?
स्कॉलरशिप किट भी ऐसे ही गया था लोगों के सर के ऊपर. मतलब क्या, व्हाट डू यू मीन? ये तो अच्छी बात है ना.
This
नहीं,
call.
मुझे कभी कभी ना, जैसे हिंदुस्तान में मैं सुनती हूँ, मैं आई एम फर्स्ट जनरेशन पीएचडी, मैं कहा क्या, वो वैसी कोई चीज होती नहीं है। ये आपने गलत समझ लिया अमेरिका
यहाँ
से।
सभी फर्स्ट जनरेशन ही है. मतलब कौन है भाई जिसके फैमिली में 3 जनरेशन से
हाँ
पीएचडी चल रही है? मतलब बहुत लाइक.
एग्जैक्टली। ऑल्सो अग्रवाल जी, आपके पापा की ना टोंटियों की फैक्ट्री है, ठीक है, 3 घर है वसंत कुंज में, चुप रहिए।
Also, my favorite argument is it's Women's History Month.
I support women's rights and women's
Correct.
wrongs.
They have used this argument twice, by the way. This is the second time they're doing this.
See, Women's History Month is it's basically this month in which Women's Day happens, and in my company, what they do is they all of our screens they have these wallpapers, and they all have different women who made it in STEM. So because we want to make sure, like, like we need to honor women in STEM without actually improving hiring practices to hire more women in STEM.
Whenever people talk about Women's Day, for example, like conveniently forgetting why is Women's Day celebrated to begin with? Like who were the people who pioneered this day? It was सोवियत रशिया की औरतें जिनको बोला गया था कि भाई रेवोल्यूशन में तुमने क्रांति कर ली, नो वोटिंग राइट्स फॉर यू, सॉरी. These are women who basically participated for violently fought for bread and votes and won. And this day is like extremely important from a communist perspective. Ki this was it's the fight of communist women for something. And
Yes.
now it's basically a western version of Karwa Chauth is how it gets celebrated. बस मेहंदी नहीं लगाते, उसके अलावा करवा चौथ और इस दिन में कुछ खास फर्क नहीं है. When we try to disentangle this thing, there are so many threads here कि एक बहुत ही सर्जिकल प्रिसिजन के साथ जैसे एक यूट्यूबर करता है कि बस आप पॉइंट्स रखो कि जस्ट आई जस्ट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दिस वन थिंग. इट्स लीनियरली इस चीज़ को अप्रोच करना पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. देखो, हम जैसे ही एज सून एज वी एंटर्ड दिस स्पेस ऑफ ट्राइंग टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन, वी वर ट्राइंग टू टॉक अबाउट सम American publication, right? And how is an American publication related to to a rural influencer's internet account? And it takes so many steps for this story to build up, where so many entire cast of characters have come into this space to help us tell this story. और अभी तो बात खत्म भी नहीं हुई है, right? Whenever like थोड़ा existential आता है कि why am I spending my time trying to understand this problem, when I think about this particular story, like it's such a इतने सालों बाद ऐसा एक ड्रामा हुआ है जिसमें I was right there. Like ये तो इससे पहले this happened was when Steven Pinker basically went on a blocking spree and he blocked every linguist on Twitter. बहुत 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 अमेज ड्रामा 2020 या 2021 में हुआ था. पुट अ पिन इन दैट फॉर अनदर डे. बट यहाँ पे इसमें द मेन थिंग दैट हैपेंड वाज कि व्हाई इज इट दैट दिस अमेजिंग दिस लाइफ ऑफ पूजा का जो अकाउंट है, व्हाई इज इट कॉजिंग सो मच रिफ्लेक्सिव like behavior with people? Like why is everybody like in a react
Yeah.
mode as soon as they see it? There's nothing. That's just not how I experienced it. Like the conversation I had with my mom years ago, जो थोड़ी देर पहले बोला था, I remember engaging with this content very positively. And जो normal लोग हैं, जो इंसान हैं, इंसान इस content के साथ इंसानों की तरह ही engage कर रहे हैं. इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का कुछ चल रहा है कि क्या है एंड वो इमोशन क्या है. एक तो है, या मे बी इट्स एक्सट्रीमली cynical where they are doing this hate content because they want to make money, but even that doesn't look good because none of them have actually benefited from this drama. Like they've gotten eyes on their content, उनको सब्सक्राइबर मिले हैं, but overall everyone's complaining about how they got bot attacked. Their mental health was degraded. uh, Juggernaut lost, like the whole conversation went from please DM me to quote unquote, hey Juggernaut, like you treat your contributing authors like shit, quote unquote. People should not read Juggernaut magazine, quote unquote, because Juggernaut magazine अपने contributing authors को ढंग से पैसा नहीं देता है, टाइम पे पैसे नहीं देते हैं, quote unquote. They use academics, writers, intellectuals as, you know, native informants, and quote unquote they never see us as their equal. So ये pass the mic game ही नहीं है. It's just कि quote unquote they have nothing. They're so vacuous. They have so much emptiness that they need to rely on people who have these oppressive in their eyes lives in other countries. They need to take something from them, quote unquote. And that rage जो एक build हुआ जिसमें काफी सारे right wing लोग अपने reasons के लिए इस bandwagon पे बैठे, because a lot of right wing people have decided that Pujarani Pradhan is their Lord and Savior. Because again, everybody is looking at this so one dimensionally, and everyone's lost the context. She's a, you know, we don't know what her politics is. I could be wrong. तो तुमने डिसाइड कर लिया कि भाई ये हमारे कैंप की है, तो तुम घुस गए कि क्योंकि जो ये जो ट्रैड्स लोग हैं दे हैव गॉटन इनटू दिस स्पेस बिकॉज दे आर लाइक आई वांट to hate on these women for like my incel reasons. And so now that's happened. And so now it's cursed content, right? Now how do you criticize Juggernaut without like accidentally becoming incel adjacent, or accidentally becoming right wing adjacent? That's the nuke that happens of this place. Ki when these Twitter villain of the day type of dramas blow up, asli criticism aap kar hi nahi pate ho after a point. And that's kind of where we are stuck at. So yeah, I know there are all of these jokes that I'm making, like oh my god, yes, so but the sad part is ki in all of this, like what happened to Madhi Chaudhary, who's a PhD student, his mental health. Like the people who, like all of the fighting with Tulika Bose and fighting with Juggernaut and fighting with Indian Americans must have taken a toll, right? Like what happened to him? Like is he okay?
The other thing I think we're missing a little bit is that even some of the things that are happening offline are made for online traction, right? So I can imagine if I want to fight an election in West Bengal, I can take up the life of Pooja issue pretty strongly and continue to let it percolate. I can take up the women's reservation bill, which there was no earnest effort to pass it in the Indian Parliament, and know that it's made entirely for WhatsApp forwards and for online discourse pretty much. And uh, it's very hard for me to figure out what is real, what is not anymore. Like, what is organic, what is inorganic. ये पता ही करना is becoming very difficult, and maybe we were just shielded from that before. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, all these media scholars working on hate speech online, like one thing starts with land jihad, with love jihad. And it's created in an online echo chamber. And then eventually it's featured in manifestos and reaches up to the parliament. But so much of it has been in the context of online hate speech circulation through Twitter to the streets. And now we're just seeing some sort of a hydra branching off of it in authenticity universe.
Yeah.
Where I still don't understand authenticity of what?
I just had one last question for Sumaira. I mean, Sumaira, so some of the characters in the story who are academics, they are people that, you know, there is the वो एक Ivy League academic वाला जो एक space है. When I see this, I'm like, bro, मैं state school से हूँ, मैं सरकारी कॉलेज में से हूँ भाई, मुझको नहीं पता ये Ivy League वाले क्या कर रहे हैं. ये मेरा position है तो. But like, is there something that is there a dimension of ये ईस्ट कोस्ट इंटेलेक्चुअल देसी वाला जो एक स्पेस है जो थोड़ा टू अ स्मॉल एक्सटेंट टोरंटो और मॉन्ट्रियल में भी इसका जो एक ब्रांच है, इज देयर समथिंग हैपनिंग लाइक इन दैट स्पेस दैट्स लाइक अ लिटिल इनविजिबल टू एवरीवन एल्स? लाइक ये ऐसे एक ट्विटर बीफ में घुसना भी एक मतलब यू कुड लिटरली बी राइटिंग what I tell myself.
Yeah, I understand in principle ऐसा होता है, लेकिन with Mehdi I just thought अरे इतनी बदतमीजी कौन करता है किसी के साथ कि तुम्हारे सुपरवाइजर को मैं मैसेज करूंगी कि तुमने मुझे ऐसे हरास कर दिया. Then there are others who are publicly supporting him, who are academics and probably his seniors, his colleagues, who are saying that no, I stand by this person who's always respectful and is very kind. And I think on Twitter also it shows a little that okay, 2 minute लगते हैं from Mehdi going into Mehdi accuses this editor of being rude to going into Mehdi harasses editor, and then harasses is a very strong word. तो वहां मुझे एक वक्त पे तो लगा कि अच्छा ही है, 2 4 लोग आके कहते हैं कि ये ऐसे बात नहीं कर सकती हैं आप किसी से. सो दैट थिंग इज सर्टेनली देयर. लेकिन अगर मैं आई एम मतलब मेहंदी वाले में मुझे इस तरह से बिल्कुल भी नहीं लगा. आई डोंट पर्सनली नो देम एंड आई विश देम ऑल द बेस्ट एंड आई होप दैट दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्विटर इंसिडेंट हैज नॉट हैड एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन देम. इस तरह की रेज बेट ट्वीट्स तो हर कोई अपना ट्विटर पे चिड़िया की तस्वीर लगा के करता ही रहता है. सो आई ऑल्सो I feel it's Twitter's language that sometimes I don't understand. I'm I'm also new to it. Like I don't know. I try to maintain a very very polite tone online. Sometimes I also slip and I regret it. लेकिन उसके साथ तो चलो उसका इंटरेक्शन जो हुआ एडिटर के साथ, आई थॉट you don't threaten someone by saying I'll get in touch with your editor. Even if you do it and the editor and the supervisor laughs about it, it's still humiliating. It still says, can you stop behaving like a child online? Why am I getting these emails about you? But the other question being of that people are trying to sell themselves as scholar by having this online activity. I don't understand when people put out. I know their intention is to widen the net, but when especially Ivy League professors put out posts saying, I'm looking for pre-docs and please, if you are interested, apply to me. Why are you pretending as if this is an even playing field? You also know that this is only going to come through networks and with who knows who and with academic pedigree. And maybe you'll hire one or two in an off chance to keep up some pretenses. But it's toxic American academia after all. I don't understand how this is going to fix anything. The other one with history Twitter, the kind of beefs we have is more traction, more rage. All kinds of history that is being produced on Twitter is then just, oh, okay, Hindutva said this is wrong, we do this. Great. There's space for this and it should be done. It's always our job to then correct public opinion. But then it also becomes like, is this all there is to history writing? That we should all just be consumed with what's trendy on our algorithm and then keep defying it repeatedly? Like there is definitely space for it and I cannot appreciate it enough. But that can't be the only thing. Which brings me to my final point with also how information circulates on Twitter, where it's repeat. I know, maybe I'm just in my kind phase. I've had a great chicken sandwich and I'm very happy about this day with 42 degrees. But I feel like so much of scholarship is a collaborative project. Why can't you just be kind? Cite people whose scholarship you are using. Don't start with, did you know no one has ever featured this? Here is my great picture of this obscure land. Like, no, there are 5 scholars who did hard back-breaking archival work to bring you this information. Cite them, make it collaborative, produce some modicum of critical thinking. Like we are not running Wikipedia pages. And that's where I feel Twitter like massively failed for me. I thought I could be this historian who puts out information here in bite-sized pieces and that can be consumed by everyone who is online at least, or I can fact check or I can correct and I can start with like, yes, listen to me, I went through rigorous training to do this, only to eventually realize like, sure, it's impossible to follow these trends and you have to be exceptionally rude to have some kind of traction, and that this is not a collaborative project at all. In no world are you trying to think of, okay, I'm introducing people to critical thinking or saying, okay, do you think one language only has one script? Can we think of a multilingual early modern Indian past? No, it doesn't even come to that. Everything has to be in bite-sized, boxed pieces so that you can easily consume it. Then wither critical thinking, so much opinion, and yet you're asking Grok, what this means? Why? That's my TED Talk. Thank you.
I just want to say, Meg, in this particular case, I don't even think he was rage baiting. How is just saying juggernaut is the words is just the most like innocuous tweet.
Not blaming him at all. Like, but yeah, like I said, there is a Twitter reductionism that happened, where a joke cannot be a joke.
Okay. And on that note, I think we'll end the podcast today. This was a great discussion. I could just go. I think we have to have you back, Sumaira, and we have to have you more regularly, Meg and Amrita, both of you. We need to do
Thanks,
more of
guys.
these crossover episodes.
अरे आपको कितनी बार बोले हैं सुमेरा आइए आइए, तो आई मीन लाइक मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि हमें ये टाइम मिला आपके साथ बात करने के
अरे
लिए.
मैं ये रिकॉर्डिंग हम बंद कर दें फिर बात करने.
On that note, thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Few days after we recorded the episode, Yashika Dutt of the Coming Out as Dalit fame wrote an article called Zohran Mamdani, Muslim, Hindu, African, South Asian, New Yorker. This was about how he built coalitions in New York amongst people who identified with him and those who were a part of the coalition from within those groups who opposed him. Fairly simple and straightforward. She spoke to a wide variety of people from different boroughs and different socioeconomic backgrounds in New York. There were two interesting themes that emerged. One is Indian Hindus that were Islamophobic and didn't appreciate Mamdani's assertion of his Muslim identity and actively campaigned against him. And then within that, a more privileged Long Island type cohort of thoda upper caste, Gujarati Jays, Swaminarayan following, Babs going type folks who also didn't support him. And, I single out Gujaratis, but there were other backgrounds of Indian folks who did not support him from a more privileged Hindu background, right? We've all met folks like this. I've heard dissent against Mamdani from people, and this was not a surprise to anyone who read the article. However, there was a guy from Jacobin Mag, and if you follow Jacobin, this is not even the worst take from them this week. This is a guy called Bhaskar. He straight up proclaimed that there was absolutely no communalism in New York. Basically, that South Asians all live like one happy, homogenous family. There's no divides. It's all good. This is where the Juggernaut twins come in. Snigdha, who you will know as the founder of Juggernaut, she basically says something to the effect of, you can really tell who grew up in New York and who didn't from this story. It wasn't clear if she implied that because Yashika didn't grow up in New York or some other reason that she didn't get it. Yashika was basically like, yeah, I'm glad you got the privilege to grow up in New York. This was afforded to only a precious few people so far. Mostly it's been upper caste folks who've had that privilege, especially in the last century. And oh boy, privilege. The worst thing you can do to someone from Juggernaut is tell them that they have any kind of privilege. And their founder, no less. It's like calling a white person racist. Snigdha brought out all the guns. I'm not Brahmin, which is moving the goalpost a little because Yashika said upper caste. But sure, she went on to say, I grew up poor in New York and I'm a scholarship kid, etc., etc. Basically, a very specific type of NRI that thinks that going to grad school and waiting tables in grad school or getting scholarships to Ivy League schools makes them underprivileged. Tulika, the other Juggernaut twin that we talked about, who's a senior editor, basically decided to talk about, if you're from a minority community, your identity should not be seen as a bias, and that making all your journalism work about your identity works for only a few personal essays and a book. I wonder who she's talking about here. She didn't say, but it's clear she was trying to talk about Yashika Dutt. Talking about identity, I must remind you, one of them is a co-founder, one of them is a senior editor at Juggernaut, whose tagline is "The South Asian stories you need to know." Wonderfully, in the aftermath of this, the Hindu American Foundation, HAF, has taken a stand against what Yashika states in this article. Folks, if you find yourself on the same side of the argument as HAF, take a long, hard look at how you got there. And the Juggernaut twins did not stop there. They've been tweeting about this nonstop. Tulika goes on about scholarship kids, and she's been doing this ever since she harassed Madhi. Snigdha has since started talking about how she comes from a partition family. Now, I, unlike her, am not going to deny what was probably real trauma for her family. But when you use that trauma to deny someone else's experience and journalistic reporting of discrimination, that's not going to go down well. You raised venture capital money from Y Combinator, you went to an Ivy League school. You don't get to scream that you're not privileged just because your parents don't have a second house in Cape Cod where they go for the summer. Especially not as you bully someone who's scrappily built up credentials at actual personal cost and has talked to more people than just her WhatsApp Desi contacts before writing a story. Anyway, we have a wonderful guest in this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. I just wanted to put a closing chapter on what happened in the aftermath from after we recorded the episode till we're going to release it. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Long years ago, we made a trip with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge.
8 नवंबर 2016 की रात्रि को 12 बजे से
चीफ मिनिस्टर के लिए मेरा एक ही संदेश है कि वो राजधर्म का पालन करें।
हार्डवेयर वालों की सोच क्या होती है, हार्ड वर्क वालों की सोच क्या होती है।
अरे ये ना पंजाब की खुशबू।